I came upon this movie, and this is right up my alley. I saw it, actually, Derek St. Holmes was, promoting it. And I said, I'm a rock guy at heart, hard rock, obviously, right. Aerosmith, Van Halen, all that sort of stuff. And I said, this I gotta see. And I was ready to go to the movies to see it, for the one night only. And that very day, somebody sent me a screening of it. So, I sat down because I wanted to see, Rudy Sarzo and the thing about Randy Rhoads and all this other stuff,
right.
And Liberty U come on, and I'm blown away. And I said, oh my God, this guy's story is phenomenal. And I got to be so honest with you here that I couldn't get you out of my head all night. It was
I hope you mean that in a good way.
Yes, a very good way. I said, my God, I got to get this guy on my show. And then I showed the girlfriend my movie. No, wait, I showed my girlfriend your movie.
Right.
And as soon as it was over, the first thing she said to me was, you got to get him on the show. And I said, yeah.
Was I on her mind all night?
I hope not. It's funny because she was going, lip. I said, what was that, honey?
Right.
So, first thing I got to ask you is the very start of the movie, where you guys are jamming.
Yes.
Now, the music on the jam sessions, because there's a couple in there, is so fucking kick-ass, it's not even funny. Now, you had Nita Strauss there, you had Jason Hook. Who else was in that jam session in the beginning?
Phil X. Let's see, who else was on that? Didn't Rudy? Rudy was on that.
Rudy was there, yeah. You were wearing a Slim Kings t-shirt.
I was wearing a Slim Kings t-shirt, free press.
Smart marketing, yeah.
Yes. And the later on one where me and Kenny played together, when we played Derek's tune, Just with the Dr.
Yes.
That was killer. That was really killer for me.
Yeah.
And being in with all those metal guys.
Right.
And me playing with Billy Joel. I told him, I said, we were actually metal too, but we were tin foil, but so a form of metal. Yeah.
Is that music ever going to be released? Because I'm like, man, I got to get my hands on this stuff.
I think they're talking about putting an album together because I spoke to Russell Javers, who's in it too. He played with me with Billy for a long time.
Yeah.
There's two songs when I'm talking and Russell's talking. There's two songs that are in it that were Topper, the band that was before Billy.
Yes.
Yeah. My first big break, the guy that gave me my biggest break was Mitch Ryder.
Really?
Yeah. They came to New York. Mitch Ryder, he had parted from the Detroit Wheels already, and I had gotten a call from the Detroit Wheels. We did one gig in Hershey, Pennsylvania. The band fell apart because of problems within the band. Anyway, I came back home. A month later, I get a phone call. It's Mitch Ryder's tour manager. They're in New York. Their drummer is very sick, and they need somebody. And I said, when do you need me? They said, now, right, tonight. So anyway, the drummer that got sick was Johnny Siomas, who went on to do Frampton Comes Alive.
Really?
So, yeah. So I went in and I played with Mitch. The sax player, Jimmy Loomis, showed me when to stop and when to start. I was a big Mitch fan. I knew all his stuff already.
Yeah, he's great, yeah.
And we ended up going up and down the East Coast together. So he gave me my first big break. I came home and Super was looking for someone. And
this is here in New York when you say came home.
Yeah, on Long Island. He had loved the rich kids.
Yes,
And so when he heard that I played with Mitch Ryder, that was my foot in the door with Super.
Yeah.
So, and then we did an album called Super's Jamboree. We went to Studio One down in Atlanta and recorded with a bunch of the guys that are now the Atlanta Rhythm section.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's weird how it's all so connected. I saw part of the movie where your mom was very into music. You used to cut school and go see Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
You said, and I'm quoting, your dad was a square.
He was a square. He was a New York City policeman.
Okay.
World War II veteran, New York City policeman.
That sort of explains it. And you said that your parents finally bought you a drum kit because your father said they didn't make Prozac back then.
That's right.
So sort of to let this kid beat on the drums and sort of calm him down a little bit.
Yeah, get some energy out of this kid.
And so when you first started to drum, you were like, what, 11, 12 years old?
Yeah,
something like that?
Yeah, like 12.
Yeah.
12. Yeah, 11, 12, yeah.
And I read somewhere along the line you were more of a Gene Krupa guy than a Buddy Rich guy.
My mother was Gene Krupa fan.
Really?
Not
okay.
Buddy Rich. Gene Krupa.
Yeah.
Gene Krupa was more of a danceable kind of, he made the drums talk. I mean, Buddy was great,
Yeah.
solos, but
Yeah.
I particularly like Krupa.
I agree.
His
You
style.
know, I
Yeah.
agree. Now, so your mom's generation, did she turn you on to a lot of that sort of stuff?
Well, supposedly when I was born, my mom lived with my aunt. My parents weren't married, and they lived in a one-room furnished apartment. And they used to have to take a drawer, pull it out, and take the
That's
clothes
where you
out, and
slept.
put blankets in there, and put me in there to sleep. And she says above it there was a radio that was on all the time. So that music was going through my head all the time. I actually played weddings later on when I was like 20 years old, and guys would play these old songs, and it was like I felt really familiar with them.
You knew them.
know,
Yeah.
They were up there. They get trapped in there.
So then from there, like, what were your influences? Were you always a rock guy?
A rock pop kind of guy.
Okay.
My first, of course, Ringo was the guy that would, you know, when I was in 6th grade, I joined the 6th grade school band, and I couldn't do the buzz roll for the Star Spangled Banner, and the teacher said, put the sticks down, you'll never do anything with the drums. So I kind of got discouraged. 12 years old. I get into junior high school now. I'm 13, and a half, going to turn 14, and then in February, the Beatles come on TV. And the next thing you know, I'm pointing at the TV going, I want to do that. I want to be in a band that makes girls scream. Fuck the buzz roll, you know. Then my next favorite, who knocked Ringo kind of off his pedestal for a while, was Dino Danelli from the Rascals.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then later on was Mitch Mitchell, Ginger Baker.
Yeah.
Jim Capaldi from Traffic was a big influence on me. Me and Billy. You can hear it in some of the songs like Stiletto and The Stranger. There's that Traffic feel, you know.
I will be totally upfront with you. The last person, first of all, I didn't really know you were in it. I didn't really know Pink was in it. Again, I was looking at, Rudy and Derek and, all those sorts of hard rock guys. And you came on and just caught my attention right away. And I said, man, this guy, it just, you were such a standout in this movie because you're just so brutally honest and just low key. And I think, that kind of maybe comes from when you were coming from breakfast one day with the piano tuner and he turned to you and he said, you know what your problem is? You're too nice of a guy, and you just won me over. I said, I got to talk to this guy. I really do.
Well,
Before I even called Derek and Rudy again. I said, I want to talk to Liberty.
I was the first one that they called for Hired Gun. It was Jason's idea.
Okay, I want to know this. Yeah.
Jason's idea, Jason Hook's idea to do a documentary.
Okay.
Fran Strine was the film guy on the Five Finger Death Punch tour.
Okay.
He was doing the big screens and stuff like that for them. And he approached Fran, and Fran said, what do you want to do it about? And Jason said, I want to do it about me. And Fran said, how about something a little more interesting? Right. So, and they came up with this idea of doing it about hired guns, people that have been with the main artist, for a long time and what it's like. And Jason told Fran, he said, if we're going to do this, you have to get Liberty first. Because
really? So you were the
I was
first
a hired
one?
gun for 30 years.
Now, the connection between you and Jason, how did you guys know each other?
Just from this film.
Oh, really? So what made Jason say you have to call Liberty first?
Because he knew I played with Billy Joel for 30 years.
Okay.
And kind of from the news articles, the story was out that me and Billy had a falling out.
Right.
It was just a horrible ending,
Yeah. And I would say in the movie, as far as a hired gun goes, 30 years with a major act like that, you were probably the biggest hired gun in that movie.
Well, Jason says it, if you were a hired gun for 3 years, that's a long time.
Yes, yes. And his trajectory has gone very nicely, into now Five Finger Death Punch, which again, that's the kind of stuff I listen to. So, when I was, telling people like Billy Joel Stern, they're like, dude, your show is called Rock Hard with Jay Conroy. What, Billy Joel? Like, how does he fit into your show? And I said, trust me, I have got to talk to this guy. And I know the story in the movie goes, and I'm not really ruining anything here for the people that are going to watch this because there's so much stuff in the movie.
Right, Spock dies at the end.
So basically it was you guys that kept bringing in the musicians to form the core of his studio and touring band.
Yeah, like I say, Billy didn't make us great. Billy saw greatness in us and knew that he would get better with us. Mm-hmm. I mean, the horror story in Hired Gun is the guy from Filter. who was treated like shit.
What a
from
scumbag!
The guy from 9 Inch Nails, and then did the same thing to his.
Oh
band.
my God! I could not believe what a fucking scumbag he was, and I got no problem saying it. For him to turn around, and I always like that Nice Shot song, but for him to turn around and dick his people the same way he got dicked by Trent Reznor, I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. That's the great thing about the film. Then there's Jay Graydon, who, when he talks about writing Turn Your Love Around, he's taking his shit in the bathroom.
It's so funny. And he had to take his clothes off because he's OCD. Yeah.
So there's fun, there's heartbreak, there's...
Yeah.
I just hope from the film that, these term party like a rock star or do it like a rock star is dropped off the map, because who the fuck wants to be like a rock star?
Yeah. At some point, and when was this point where Billy said, look, Liberty, I want to take you back, and then that's it. I'm not taking the rest of the band. I'm going to start a new band with just you.
On the bridge tour. We just had finished playing Russia, Soviet Union, and we went back to play, we put out the live album from Soviet Union, and we played Australia for the second time. And that's when he said, I'm going to do something different.
Doug and Russell, were kind of like left in the cold, and that puts you in a very awkward position.
Yeah.
And you said, Billy, you got to call these guys. And he said, I ain't got to do shit on Billy Joel, which, there's no way to handle it. So it put you in a bad position. And then I'm going to go here because it's in the movie that, Doug would call you up, and fuck you, you got your fucking gig and I'm poor and this and that. And, so sad that he went on to commit suicide because he was so despondent over this.
Everybody's got demons in their head already, and then something like that is thrown on top of it, and just...
Now, I got to ask you, you said, you were going out to do a gig, and he called, you listened to the answer machine, you said, look, here he goes again with, Liberty, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And you said, I don't want to deal with this now. You came home from the gig, and your wife at the time was crying, and you found out he had committed suicide. Was there any regrets on your part that you didn't? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Like you wished you had taken that last phone call.
Yeah, like Russell says, we could have all done so much more.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Right. The biggest takeaway, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, was your attitude about the whole thing is just like, it is what it is. It was what it was. I'm moving forward. I was like, this guy is like just phenomenal the way he has just said, hey.
Right. Listen, I was very bitter in the beginning. Very.
Sure.
I smashed gold albums and everything.
Wow, really?
Yeah. They break so well on the edge of a table.
Do they now?
Smack them on the edge of a table, they just shatter. And I had memorabilia and stuff. I put it out in the trash one day, just threw it away.
Sure, it's got to be tough to look at.
Get it out of here. And when people call up and say, hey, you're playing Madison Square Garden, and you're like, no, I'm not. It's like, so it took 7 years of a life coach to like talk me off the ledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went out and sought help to deal with it, basically.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
because I know I felt Doug breathing down my neck sometimes. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is why But I had a good support team. I have daughters. I'm married to a wonderful woman now.
Would this be the third time, with all due respect?
Third marriage, yes.
Yes.
Third marriage,
okay.
and I just had a child. She's 5 months old.
Congratulations.
So now I have 4 daughters.
What is her name?
May.
That's beautiful. Now, how old are your other daughters?
37, 33, and 29.
Okay, so I have 4 kids myself with the same ex-wife. I learned my lesson after the first time. No offense, Liberty, but it's all right to call you Lib. Everybody refers to you as Lib, and it's less Liberty. Syllables for me. So, so with the first wife, how many kids did you have?
1.
Okay, and then the second wife. Okay.
Now this one 1.
And now this one 1. 5 months old. That's beautiful. One more thing I want to talk about as far as Billy Joel goes, and then that's pretty much all I really want to talk about Billy Joel. There really was no goodbye from Billy. I mean, in the movie, you talk about how everybody was going home for Easter, and it was well, there's no room on the plane.
Listen, the term "fuck 'em" was created in the music business.
Okay.
Yeah. So at any moment, you could be the guy that fuck 'em.
Yeah.
At any moment. It
but
could
30 years, Liberty.
I know, but it happens. It just happens. That fickle finger of fate just lands on you. Look out.
Yeah.
It could land on you.
And that was pretty much the end of it, right? You didn't get on that plane, and then you sort of, he never called you again. And
so I kind of knew that shit was going south,
Yeah, I picked up on that.
And then when he had his play, with a Broadway show called Moving Out, they had all the guys in the pit that were playing the show, and people used to come up to me and go, "Hey, did you hear your replacements yet?" And that's the band he's gone on the road with now.
Unbelievable.
That's why he sounds like a Broadway show.
After I saw the movie, I said, what they really should call this movie is Hired Gun and Billy Joel's a Scumbag. But that's just me, and you don't have to comment, Liberty. So that's just my own personal thing. All right, I want to move on to first. I want to talk about this Little Kids Rock thing. That is what you call it, right? Little Kids Rock.
It is called Little Kids Rock. Yeah.
Right. Now, how did that come about?
It was started by a guy named Dave Wish, who was a teacher out in the worst part of California, L.A., and he was teaching school, middle school, and he saw all these kids hanging out after school, and Dave played guitar. And he said, "Hey, look, I'll give you guitar lessons if you promise you'll come every day for a lesson." He started out with 20 kids. He's been going for probably 15, 16 years, and 500,000 kids have gone through Little Kids Rock.
Really? That's a lot of kids.
I came in about 14 years ago. I got a call. You have these manufacturers that you endorse,
right?
And so Sabian Cymbals called me up and they say this organization that we support, there's going to do a magazine article, and they said if they had somebody from a big band, they would get more coverage. So would you go? And I said, sure, I'll go. And they didn't have drums there. Somebody was playing guitar, and I was playing on the back of a guitar, like playing bongo parts. And it was great, and I was hooked from then on.
And how often do you go to the schools and talk to the kids with your business
I'm going
schedule?
out next week to Fort Collins, Colorado, because all the teachers from all the states and some from even overseas are coming, and they have these curriculums that they go through and stuff like that. And me and a couple other guys are going to be doing little clinics and talk about the music business and stuff like that. And I do that kind of stuff. Then I go to the schools and give out equipment, to kids. It's great. You see a kid, he lights up. You give him a set of drumsticks. It's like, I can't believe it.
All right, let's talk about the Slim Kings. When did you form the Slim Kings?
Mike,
Liberty and I met on a session for my solo records, and Lib started playing my solo gigs with my band, and a friend of mine in California was sending me licks, and we decided we wanted to put something together around that. And I asked Liberty if he was interested, and he said, "So you want to be in a band with me?" And I said, I guess that's what I'm asking you. And we made the first record. There was another bass player for a little while. Andy joined the band. We had our guitar player who was with us for a little bit left. And in this version, we've been together for 2-ish years.
Okay.
And
so you and Liberty started the Slim Kings. It was you're the original.
We started it with another person, in all fairness.
I saw that, so I was going to bring it up. I saw a different name.
At this point, this is very much the three people in charge.
Right. And when did you come in?
I think it's like 3 years now.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5, 3, yeah.
All right.
Is it longer than that? I think let's say 3, yeah.
And so how many, it's what, 3 albums and a couple of singles?
Well, we recorded 3 records.
Uh-huh.
The first one was put out. The second one, half of it's been put out in little singles here and there. And a couple from the third one have come out. The third record is going to come out this fall and winter. And we're going to put out track at a time for quite a while. And then we're going to have vinyl that's going to be available in late October, early November. And we're actually recording our next record while we deal with putting that out. My big break was having my show on my songs on a television show.
Really? What song?
It's called Sons of Anarchy.
How did you get your songs on Sons of Anarchy?
My first record was produced by a guy named Bob Thiel Jr. And Bob ended up doing most of the music and music supervision for that show. And so in the first season, I think I had 2 or 3 songs, and then for the next few seasons, the joke was that my CD was the one they were passing around in the clubhouse because it would show up in the background in a lot of different scenes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was great. It was a really cool break, and the funny story is that for the first one, nobody really knew what the show was about yet, and nobody really knew what the show was. But I knew that I had a show on a song on a cable network show that was a big deal, a cable show. And FX was like kind of new, and this was their tentpole thing. And so I told my grandma, you got to tune in and watch because I have this song. And in the brief that I got when I signed off on the publishing to let them use the song, it said, wounded gang member gets patched up. So I thought, okay, I'll allow the usage for that. And there's my grandmother sitting in front of her TV.
I was waiting for this part of it, yeah.
Watching a bullet get removed from some guy's ass, and the guy's name is like Juice,
Yeah.
with my love song in the background. and they always did that with the descriptions. The next one was like, Gemma rides in car, right? Yeah. And is stopped by stranger. And she's mouthing the lyrics to your song or whatever. Like, this is great. This is a huge placement. Riding in the car.
Hell yeah.
That's where people listen to music, and it's a single off my record, the whole bit. And as soon as she turns off the music, she gets gang raped. And it's horrible. And by the way, I'm a very peaceful guy.
See, now I'm going to have to go back and watch certain episodes because I sort of remember the music being cool, but now I'm going to have to go back and really listen. Is your stuff on any kind of Sons of Anarchy soundtrack?
They didn't put it on the soundtrack record, I don't think. It's on a lot of the playlists. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. I mean, it's all findable under my name, Michael Sackler Burner. First record was called MSB.
Andy has an interesting take on how he started playing the bass. What was that thing you were talking about? Like you heard the hip hop stuff. And
I grew up like only listening to like hip hop records. Growing up like late 90s in Brooklyn and stuff, and when that was coming up, and when you're a kid you just think like rappers make their own beats, like you don't really think about it. And then when I realized that it was like samples of old records, it was like, wow, this is like real instruments, you know what I mean? So I guess what you're saying is it can come from anywhere,
Yeah, he realized that real guys were playing what those guys were sampling,
right.
And he goes, if they can do that, then I can do that,
Right.
And bottom line for me is that I think computers, I told you this morning, I think computers were created to bring astronauts safely home.
Right.
Not to sell fucking music.
Right.
The band sells music. You play, people like it, they'll buy your record. If they don't like your record, they're not going to buy it. But if they see you play live and you're great, they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't like it before. To try to just fucking push shit out on the internet is like, and then you come around and play and you sound like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody's going to buy your record.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't put your stuff on the internet and don't try to sell your stuff on the internet. I'm just saying that when you put the stuff on the internet and people come to see you, if you suck, that's it. It's over.
Right. Very true.
It's like a baseball player. You get up, you got 3 strikes. You miss 3 times, you're out.
Yeah.
Out. It's out.
No, it's one strike, man. Every
with
night.
the music business, one strike.
You gotta
get to me. Yeah. And my sister was big Elton John. My sister was more of the softer rock type of thing. The band Bread, she was really into. 3 Dog Night, all that kind of thing. But she was a humongous Elton John fan, which is why I know his catalog like inside out from my sister. So while I was listening to Alice Cooper and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, my sister was listening to that. And, years down the road, I've come to appreciate that, and realize, okay, the other day I started breaking out in a Bread song.
Listen to me. I was a big
I would listen to
Cream
you all
and
night.
Hendrix fan and all that kind of stuff, but I had more sex to Bread that I can't
Get
listen
out.
to those songs now without getting turned on.
Yeah. Are you serious? Because you did have a look on your face when I said Bread,
Yeah.
And I knew
Yeah.
all those albums because my sister had a what song was I singing to somebody the other day? And I said, you never heard this, a band called Bread. I don't think it was Guitar Man. What were some of their other big?
Diary.
Yeah.
Everything I Own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. That was fuck music, man. You kidding me?
Yeah,
Fucking
interesting.
put that on. Lights down.
I don't know about music when you're doing it.
It's got to be the right music.
I listen to it attentively. It's very
That could
confusing for me.
Come
I-
on.
happen.
The
What
song
is-
is I would give everything.
Doing it
I
with
would
music
give
on it.
Okay.
everything I own.
Mike, you brought up a point that I say all the time. I cannot have sex with music on. Let's just put it out there. Is that what you're saying here?
Yes. Well,
This is a fucking X-rated show, so
No, no,
just
no,
spit it
I-
out.
I
Point is,
appreciate
it's
that.
not for you.
I-
It's, you know
there
what I
are
mean?
situations where it's there, but like to go to the turntable and like drop the needle and like get it on,
Yeah.
that's way too bold for
You think
somebody
about
like
it too
me.
much.
And then I'm listening. Which
That's the
I need to be
thing.
focused.
I can't do them both at the same time because I'm so the two most things I'm passionate about in life, sex and music. Okay, my head's ready to explode because I'm like, here, the sex, the music, the sex, and I kid you not, I've said this on my show plenty of times. I'm like, I can't do them both at the same time. It throws me off.
It's like Costanza with food and sex
look,
at the same time. That's too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
Me and Michael are married, so this conversation has to end right here. But Andy's not.
Right.
So Andy,
Yeah. You gotta. It depends. It's
do you
like I
like
said,
last time you had sex? Did you have music on?
Hell yeah. The new.
And what were we listening
that
to?
new
Yeah,
Frank
what was
Ocean
it?
record, the new Frank Ocean record. Well, it's not new really anymore. That's been my go-to. That's my blowjob record.
Who?
Right there. Frank Ocean.
Who the fuck is Frank Ocean?
Exactly.
Yo, yeah, no,
Exactly.
he.
But it's not for
I
you.
know who he is.
That's the point. It's not for your enjoyment. You know what I mean? It's
No,
to
I like
create
bread.
a mood. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I go on and I try to put like some hip shit that I really dig. That's
Right.
Not the point.
No, yeah,
I
right.
remember one time I put
Well, it's
on
about the woman loving
one
it.
time I put
Right,
on a
right.
Scientist record, which is like this deep, like 70s dub, like Jamaica dub shit with like this, all weird sounds, and that was
Reverb going.
was a,
and shit.
yeah, it was a bad choice. The fucking snare drum, pom pom pom. I thought it was gonna be like, I thought it was gonna set a mood and shit, and that backfired. But Frank Ocean, Blonde is the name of the record. Start on track 3.
You see, he's got this
See,
down.
He's got it down. See?
He's got it down.
I'm telling you,
Single.
music
And you let
set
it
the
play.
mood, man.
Yeah.
It's like a bottle of wine.
And
you know?
yeah.
and distraction could be good in certain situations. It might be good to just listen to the music for a second, keep it going, last a little longer.
See,
Think
it's a
about
good
it.
thing you turned this
Yeah.
one over to him
I'm
because he
telling you.
just really just
Remember, it
brought
used to be
home.
baseball for us.
Yeah, right.
Think of baseball.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I
He's
used to
the
think
music.
about-
He's listening to music.
It's a cool minor ninth chord right there. You know what I mean? It gets me going a little longer.
It's more like it's a cool minor knife. Chord right there.
Yeah.
But it's funny you brought
it's a
that
nice
up because yeah, same way. And then here's the other side of it where you're like, oh no, man, I know just how to do it to Frank Ocean.
yeah,
You
yeah, it's got to be the right record, right chick too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I can't
that's
have,
so
like,
funny.
Can't have sex with like the ice cream truck going on in the back in the street, kids playing out in the street.
Oh, that fucking Mr. Softy kills it every time.
Oh, dude.
Okay, look at it. You can see
The
he's
worst.
gotten burned by Mr. Softy.
The
You can
That's why
see.
it's called Mr. Soft.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. But bum is right. Well, I should have left that one right along
That
to the
was
drummer.
good.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's quick.
That was very good, very quick. Yeah.
What did you say in that interview in Philly? Where the guy all had to reach for the board. It was on like a 10-second delay.
Oh, I used the word jizz.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
some
nothing.
girl was talking about how the vitamins she gets out of or something.
Oh yeah.
It's like a
Because she
skin
was talking
cream or
about
something.
whether or not she ingests.
Right. And it was the interview.
In a
before
morning-
Swallows. You can say that on
On
the
a-
It
show.
was
On
the
a
interview
morning
before
show.
we came on.
Uh huh.
So as soon as we came on, I said, we were out there listening to that girl talk about swallowing jizz, and the guys were like, fuck, you can't say that.
And then they asked us who our fans were.
Yeah.
Andy will
Junkies and babies. That's basically what it
Junkies
comes
and
down to, man.
babies.
They like to dance.
At the time we were playing
they
a lot of-
respond to the music. You know,
Oh my God,
in a very
those
honest way.
festivals.
You know, Andy's the quiet one here, but man, when he talks, it's
fuck yeah.
dead on, man.
Oh,
He comes up with it.
Gotta
Oh,
come
yeah.
out with it.
oh yeah.
I want to thank you all very, very much for coming in. You know, this was way more than I bargained for when I started, you know, checking out the Slim Kings and, you know, seeing the thing about you with Little Kids Rock. But again,
We
you
went
know,
from Little Kids Rock to fucking get blowjobs to
To Frank Ocean.
is there any other interview or a show you've been on where you can do that? That's what I told you when you came in. There's no holds barred on this show. We go everywhere.
You have just alienated kids, women, Billy Joel.
That's how it is on this show, you know. And I said, I got to tell him when I come in because I've seen some other interviews he's doing, especially if you're doing it for like a guitar. I mean, I'm sorry, a drum company or something like that.
that'd be good.
I'm like, he's like really straight up, and I'm like, well, when he gets a fucking hold of this show.
Oh, you saw
know?
the video to what's the name of that song? The
Dirty
Sex with
Minds.
the Girl.
Dirty Minds.
Dirty Minds. You
Yes.
saw that video? That I sent it to the drum companies, because they're my companies. Put this on your.
Yeah.
They were like, we can't because there's so many kids that come to our websites.
Yeah. But, again, Liberty, like I said, I saw that documentary, not expecting you at all, and I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? And right from the beginning, I said, damn. And the movie sort of documentary starts and ends with you. And, the way you're walking down the street in Brooklyn, it was very touching, and I know we were joking about it at the beginning of this show,
Right.
but you really got to me. I was joking with somebody, I go, this may be the first interview I cried during, because it was just so heartfelt, and just, I can't say enough about that,
Well, that's what's great about the film. Everybody that's in it, whether it was a tragic thing like when Rudy talks about
Randy, yeah.
It's like when he says, all I heard was a hum.
Oh, my God, that's
and
intense,
just
yeah.
silence, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then even to the point where the guy from the Nine Inch Nails is talking and you're saying, what a prick this guy is.
Oh, yeah.
At least everything is like so honest.
Yes, very
Whether
much
you
so.
thought it was shit or you thought it was great,
Yeah.
it's still honest.
Yeah. I want to thank you very, very much, all you guys, for coming in and doing this. But, Liberty, for you to come in and do my show, it's a huge honor to me. And I thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart.